Welcome to another video from DIY Daily. Just going to put a quick video together. Just going to be investigating and fixing a fault on this 2021 Seat Ateca. Now this fault is really common to any of the Volkswagen Group vehicles, the Seats, the Skodas, Volkswagens, Audis, that have got the DSG gearbox in them with this same style setup on there. But the fault that we've got with this one is basically when you're driving down the road. Now this can give various different symptoms as well. You can just get park faults where it's stuck in park. The main faults that we're getting with this one is it's actually coming up with like a gearbox error down the road. Sometimes flags a parking brake error up. It knocks it into neutral when you're driving, and you can adjust the gear lever and then it'll come back into gear and you can carry on driving home. But yeah, it'll come up with an error message on the dash there while it's doing it. So sometimes it'll put it into like a limp mode as well and put the engine warning light on with it. We're just going to run you through now what the fault codes are in it. We've done a full code scan with the top-down diagnostic machine. It's basically a fault relating to the parking switch in the gear selector. There's a choice of two, but once we've got it stripped down, I'll run you through the differences and how you can identify which one it is. But it's a nice little modification that Volkswagen do. It's a really common issue, and rather than having to buy the whole selector, you can get like a modified switch piece. But once we get it stripped down, we'll run you through that. We'll just run you through the codes, and then we'll have a quick go down the road just to show you what it's actually doing and what the fault messages are that come up on the dash as well. So yeah, I've just done a full code scan. I've not plugged this one in at all or done anything with it, just simply plugged it in and done a scan, and these are all the codes that we've got on it. So there might be a few faults that's not relating to what we're looking at, but if you look in the main modules, you can see in the ABS we've got an error message received there, a communication code, and then the transmission module there, which is where we've got the main codes that we're going to be looking into are. You can see we've got a U0103 lost comms with a gear shift module, and P1734 starter enable from gear select to lever sensor. Now this is a really common fault to these Volkswagen Group vehicles. Now I have also seen some different fault codes that do relate to the same fault as well. I'll try and list them in the description as well, just in case it helps anyone out that hasn't got these specific codes, but they might be suffering with the same fault there. So but yeah, just before I get it stripped down, just going to give it a quick drive now and just show you what get the error messages to come up, then I can show you what they are quickly on the dash, and then we'll get cracked on, get it stripped down and run you through getting the fault fixed and see if we can get it sorted out and back on the road again. And just before we get into the video, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, just click on the red subscribe button below to make sure you don't miss out on any future content. But yeah, just crack on now, give it a quick drive, see if we can get these messages up. Right, so just got back from road test. I didn't actually get any proper footage of the message coming up. I didn't actually realise. Well, I thought I was recording. I'd actually just pressed the camera and just took a photo of the message that was on the dash. So I'll just overlay a screenshot of the error message that was coming up now. But yeah, basically it's just saying gearbox error on there, just so you can see if you've got one of these, whether it's the exact same message or not. That's all. But so just for now, we'll crack on, get the bit replaced, show you how to do it, and then let's just clear the codes, give it another run, and just make sure it's fixed the fault. But yeah, this is the new part from Volkswagen, and if you check the links in the description below, I'll put links to the new parts, the part numbers, and where you can get them from. And they say there's a choice of two. It's basically whether it's got a white top or a black top, but really easy to identify. All you need to do is just simply pop your gator cover off, just pop the camera down. Oh, I should be able to get it up. And all it is just this piece there. If it's black or white, that's the only difference, which will just determine to which repair kit you need. That's all. So this is the repair kit, and what actually fails, the pin switch fails for the park, the selector switch, which just reads on the end there, which is part of this whole selector mechanism. So originally, if you had this fault, you would have to replace the whole selector mechanism, which is really expensive, whereas what Volkswagen do now, with it being quite a common issue, is basically this repair kit, which just gives it another pin switch and basically bypasses the wiring. It's like a link, sort of like a link loom for the wiring, so it can just join it in and add another park switch, loads cheaper, and it saves all that extra hassle of replacing the whole selector there. So yeah, so you can see this one's a white top, so this one's the correct part for this one. So all I'm going to do now to fit the item, you're just going to need the gaiter off, and you're just going to need to take this trim off as well. Really straightforward to get off, just going to get it popped up now, but you need to just sort of pry it up quite lightly. It's clipped down, so I'll just mount the camera up now. We'll get all this up and out of the way. You'll just need to undo the connectors for some of the switches, like the parking brake and stuff, just so you can get the panel fully out of the way. So yeah, I'll just crack on and do that now, and then show you the next bit after that. Right, so just got the panel up and out of the way, and I'll just show you, just got this connector at the back there, just a little tab there to flick that off. This one just twists out of place. You just simply give it like a quarter turn twist and it'll drop down. And you've got one more connector just there again, which has just got a little tab there on it. And you need to, obviously this will look a bit different. Someone's actually like retrofitted a charge pad that's hardwired into their front tray there, like a phone charge pad. So that looks like that's all something to do with that. This one's nicely wrapped up in a duster there. Some nice Scotch locks there, it's Scotch locked in. But yeah, we're not going to worry about that. We don't need to do anything with that. So you can see now, I've just put the ignition on just so I can pull that back. Basically all we need to access now, the new switch is gonna replace these 3 screws there, so we need to take them out. Got some new longer screws with the kit. But we need to access the connector, which is just at the front. We've just got this foam pad, just got to get that out. Just get the foam pad out there, and then you can just sort of see it through the back there, just underneath there. I don't know if you can just see that. It's a little bit fiddly this, but you can just get that out. I'm just trying to show you the connector block. You've got the connector block there, so we just need to disconnect that now, and that's where the new wiring will basically join in. So you can just see, obviously one end will connect into that connector block there, and the other will connect into the wiring harness side of it. That's all. So we're just going to I'll just get that connector off now, and I can simply turn the ignition off before I do that, now that I've got it out of park. And then we'll run you on to putting this bit into place, and you do just need to set it up as well. So yeah, we'll just crack on and go on to the next step. So it's a little bit fiddly, but just try to show you. Just use a tiny little flat bladed screwdriver. What you've got to do to separate it is just simply pull that spring loaded tab back, but it is quite tight. You need to get it right to the back, and then it will pop it off. But yeah, now that we've done that, we're just going to simply remove these 3 little torque screws next. I'm going to show you quickly, but in the kit it comes with 3 new torque screws that are obviously a bit longer to suit having the switch on the top. And just to get them screws out, you're just going to want a little T9 Torx. So with the new switch, there is a little retaining pin for the switch. You do need to leave that in for now. We'll just run you through that in a minute once we've got it in place. But yeah, we're just simply going to nip that up. Only really need to be nipped up really lightly. I'll just move that bit of wiring so that's out of the way as well. Well, it just simply drops into place on the top there. I just started nipping the wrong one there, so just made sure them 2 there are loose. We're going to need to adjust this in a minute. So yeah, just for now, just going to loop the wiring and get the wiring connected up. Right, so the wiring's connected up now. Just going to neatly clip that into place before I finish. But we're now just going to set up the adjustment for the switch. Really simple to do. All you need to do at this stage now, you can just simply pull out your retaining pin, get rid of that. And all we're going to be looking to do, just try mount the camera up as we do this. And basically we need, as it's in park, it needs to press into the switch. So if we just move that up now, just see there that that's not quite pressing on it. So what we're going to do is pull the switch up to where it's pressing it in, and then while it's holding it in, we'll then nip the Torxes down, which obviously lock it in place. So I'll just try to do that quickly now. Right, so now that we've done that, if we just move it forward now, you'll see when it's in park, it's nicely pushed the switch into place. So that's where it wants to be. Now I'm just going to get all this back together now. We're just going to clear all the fault codes, give it a run, make sure it's okay. I think on the VAGCOM machines, you might, depending on what diagnostic machine you might have, there is like a basic setting procedure that you can run through. Most of the time you can get away without doing that, but I'll give it a run, just see how it is, and just see if I can find that on there to do it, whether it's listed or not. But yeah, just for now, obviously we've just got a parking fault pinging on the dash at the minute because the parking brake's disconnected. But yeah, I'm just going to crack on now, just tidy the wiring up, get everything back together, and then let's just see if we can get them fault codes out of it. So the permanent codes, they come back straight away, and obviously that fault was happening. You'd only have to drive sort of no more than 5 minutes down the road and it was logging that fault code. So yeah, let's just crack on now, get it back together and see if we can get it sorted. Right, so everything's back together now. Just going to give it a quick wipe down in a minute. We're just doing a quick full code scan at the minute. Obviously I'm expecting a few different fault codes logged in there, with having stuff like the park brake disconnected and putting the ignition on. So let's just have a quick scan, see what's in it, give all the fault codes a clear, and then we'll give it a decent drive, just make sure it's fixed the fault. Once we get back, give it a quick scan. Again, just make sure there's no fault codes in there. You always really want to be checking with a diagnostic machine after you get back. Even if it hasn't come up with a fault, it's always worth a quick check just to make sure that you know that everything's nice and clear in there. Once you can see, everything's cleared out okay. Let's just strike it up now. Just make sure it's okay again. Right, so at the minute, we've got no fault lights on the dash. We'll just quickly run through all the gears on there, just from park to reverse to neutral and into drive. Again, just make sure that it doesn't ping up any errors there. But yeah, it's all looking okay. So let's just crack on. Just going to give it a decent road test now, just make sure it's all right, and then we'll flick back to the video and just update you shortly. Right, so just got back from road test, just waited till the next day to do that. I've actually done about 15 to 20 miles now. Drove absolutely spot on though, no warning lights at all on the dash. As soon as we got back, just run it through a full code scan with a top-down diagnostic machine again, and we've got nearly every ECU's green on there. You can just see we have got one fault logged, nothing to do with the issue that we've had, but it's in the driver's door module there. So yeah, but you can see the traction control module, the ABS module is all clean. So some of them other communication codes were going to be due to the fault in the transmission module, and obviously because it's relaying the wrong message, it does tend to log codes in different ECUs sometimes. So, but yeah, I just thought I'd put that video together in case it helped anyone with the same issue. If it did, obviously it gives you a bit of a point in the right direction. You can see it's not too bad to do, and I'll put links in the description below to the parts and where you can get them from, just with the two choices on there of the white top or the black top as well. But yeah, I hope the video helped. If it did, give it a quick thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.